And online people, please confirm my voice is audible or not. Audible, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now in the morning session, we started discussing about our Dataproc, and within the Dataproc, we discussed about how to create the cluster. And after that, we generated the key by using the Putty gen. And after that, we added the key to the master machine or virtual machine. Then we connected to the virtual machine by using the Putty. After that, we converted our dynamic IP address to the static IP address. And we discussed about how to connect to the Spark by using multiple ways. How we can able to connect to Spark? By using Spark shell, or by using Spark SQL, or by using the PySpark. By using any one of the option, we can able to connect to the Spark. After that, we discussed about to perform the use case, what all of the files are required. We copied those files also from Windows system to our VM. So these are the topics we covered as part of our morning session. Now we'll start to perform our use case study. Now, before going to the use case, first we'll try to understand what is the use case. So with that, we can able to perform the activities. Just few minutes. Okay. So just observe here, Andy. So actually morning I sent the 5 different files to you. All those are the nothing but JSON files, Andy. So I given the 5 different JSON files. And out of those 5 JSON files, 2 files are related to the customer and 2 files are related to sales. So 2 files are related to customer and 2 files are related to the salesman, and 1 file is related to the orders, which is nothing but JSON file. So like this, we are having the total 5 different files, Andy. Now requirement is we need to convert all these JSON files into Parquet format. That is the first requirement. I know might be some people are not having knowledge about what is the Parquet, what is the ORC, and what is the Avro. Again, this topic we'll discuss in the coming classes. And just now try to understand. We need to convert one format of data into other format. Which format to which format we are converting? Whatever the JSON files we are having, we need to convert all these JSON files into the Parquet format. On top of this, we are going to create the tables. And for every file, we are going to create the table. I am going to create total how many tables? Total 5 different tables. 2 are for customer table, 2 are for salesman, and 1 for orders table. Now, why we are having the 2 tables for the customer? Because one table is having the data for London data, one table is having the data for New York data. Indirectly, whatever the JSON file we are getting, in the JSON file itself, first file is having all the London customers data, second file is having data for all the New York country. And in the same way, coming to salesman, first file is having the London data and second file is having the New York data. Same data we are converting into the Parquet format. On top of the Parquet files, we are going to create the tables. Now, total how many tables we are having? 5 tables. Out of 5, 2 for the customer, 2 for salesman, 1 for order. And why we are having the 2 customer table? As I told you, one table is going to contain the London data, second table is going to contain the New York data. In the same way, coming to salesman also, we are going to have one table is having the London data, one table is going to contain the New York data. And coming to orders, we are having the all the orders. And now these are the tables we are using. By using these tables, I want to load the data into my summary table. What is the requirement? By using all these tables, I want to load the data into the summary table. Now, while loading the data into the summary table, here my requirement is for every salesman in every city, what is the total amount they reached? And for every salesman in every city, how much total amount they reached? That is the data I want to populate into my summary table, or that is the data I want to populate into my target table. For that, what I want to do here is here and here in the both the places, what data we are having? We are having the same customer data. Here we are having the London customers, and here we are having the New York customers. And my requirement is I want to combine data for all the customers. That is the first requirement. Second requirement, I want to combine data for all the salesman information. Now with this, how we can able to combine data vertically? We can go for union. Okay, just for our understanding, I mentioned that in between these 2 tables, I want to apply the union. In between these 2 tables, I want to apply the union. After that, on top of this union result, on top of this union result, on top of this orders table, I want to apply the join. Indirectly, what we are doing here? We are merging data between all these tables. And now, before performing the merging operation, in between these 2 tables, first I want to apply the union. In between these 2 tables, I want to apply the union. On top of first result, on top of second result, by using the orders table, I want to apply the join. With that, I want to get the summary data. All these operations I want to perform as part of my entire use case. Okay, this is the use case. And any question on top of the use case, please ask me. How we are doing, don't ask the question, because we are going to cover that activity, how we are doing. And my question is, any questions on top of the use case side or requirement side? We are going to get the 5 different files. We are converting all these 5 files into the Parquet format. On top of that, we are going to create the tables. After creation of the tables, in between these 2 tables, we need to perform the union operation. In between these 2 tables, we need to perform the union operation. On top of this result, and orders table, we need to apply the join. With that, I want to get the summary data into my target table. This is the end-to-end flow I want to perform with the help of the Dataproc. But before doing its hands-on, any questions on the requirement side, please ask me here. It's looking like simple or complex? It's very simple. And for understanding, might be first time you are looking all these things end-to-end, might be you will feel it's a kind of a complex thing. But trust me, all these are the very, very simple activities. We'll do it in practical way. But before jumping to practicals, any questions up to here, please ask me. No questions? Okay. If no questions, observe here. And first, what I will do here is, forgot about this conversion for a few minutes. Just few minutes, and we'll do the conversion at the end. For now, what we'll do here is, from the JSON file, directly I want to create the table. from this JSON file, I want to create the table. From this JSON file, I want to create the table. I am not going to perform any kind of conversions in the step 1 and first we will try to create all the activities on top of the JSON file. Once you understand that process, then we'll include about this conversion also. With that, you can able to understand the same topic 2 times and first time what we are doing, on top of JSON file, directly we are going to create the tables. With that, we are going to perform the activity. After that, I will convert all these JSON files into Parquet. On top of the Parquet, we'll perform the same activities one more time. With that, you can able to understand the same topics 2 times. Okay, we'll start with this. Just 1 second, I will connect once. Just few minutes, Sandy. I'm connecting to my Putty. Just 1 minute ago, I've connected to my Putty. I lost the connection. Okay. Now see here. So I want to perform all these activities. So to perform all these activities, what I will do here is, first I want to perform all these activities in the PySpark. So what I'm doing here? I'm going to perform all these activities by using the PySpark. If you want to log into the PySpark, what we can do here? Just we have to give the command called as PySpark. Once we are going to give the command as a PySpark, what will happen? You can log into the PySpark shell. Okay, so within the PySpark, we can able to perform all these activities. And now thing here is, if you want to perform any kind of activities on top of your PySpark, we need to have files in LFS, or we need to maintain the files in HDFS, or we can able to maintain the data in the Google Cloud Storage also. By using any one of the files, we can able to perform all these operations. And so if you want to do this activity, what we can do here, you can able to perform this entire use case on top of the PySpark. But if you want to use the PySpark, what we can do here, you need to have the files in either LFS, or we need to have the files in the HDFS, or we need to have the files in the Google Cloud Storage. By using any one of the files, we can able to perform all these activities. Now what we'll do here is, First, we'll try to create the HDFS files, which means already we are having the data in the LFS. I want to move all these files to HDFS. So what I want to do here, I want to move all the files from the LFS to HDFS. And what is meant by LFS? Either your Windows system or in the Unix box, if you are having the data, that we can able to call it as nothing but LFS. Now, what is the requirement here? First, I want to move all these files into the HDFS. After that, I want to perform the remaining activities. And indirectly, if you want to work on the above HDFS, what need to happen? You need to have some basic knowledge on the HDFS commands. With the help of the basic knowledge on the HDFS commands, what we can do here, you can able to move the files from the LFS to HDFS. Just observe here. If you want to run any commands in the HDFS, we have to give that as a HDFS space DFS. What is meant by HDFS? It's nothing but Hadoop distributed file system. If you want to run any commands in the HDFS, we need to give the command called as a HDFS space DFS. After that, for example, my first requirement is I want to create the directory, or my requirement is I want to see the list of the directory. Tell me in the Unix, if you want to see the list of the directories, what's the command we are using? We have to give the ls. In the GCS, I want to see the list of the files. What I can do?
gs
hyphen ls. In the same way, in the HDFS also, if you want to see the list of the folders, we are going to give the same command. That's the reason. If you are perfect on the Unix commands, same commands mostly we are going to use in the GCS. Same commands we are going to use in the HDFS also. In the same way, for example, I want to create the folder. What we can do? HDFS DFS space mkdir. By using the mkdir only, you can able to create the folders. Okay. Now, for example, my one more requirement is I want to copy the files from the local system to the HDFS system. And then what we can do here is we can give it as HDFS DFS. We are having the command called as a put command, and we are having the command called as a put. Just give the source path and give the target path. So with this, what we can do here, you can able to move all the files from the LFS to our HDFS by depending on our requirement. Now tell me where we need to run all these commands. From the Putty shell only we are going to run all these commands, because Putty shell connected to the virtual machine. That virtual machine is on the Dataproc cluster. In the Dataproc cluster only we are going to have our HDFS and everything. And for that reason, from our Putty shell only we are going to run all these kind of commands. With that, we can able to perform our required activities. And just 1 second. So these are the main commands we need to understand. If you observe here, all these are the different commands we are having on top of your HDFS space FSND. If I'm giving the HDFS space DFS, what is happening here? It is displaying all the available commands on top of your HDFS side. You can able to see the copy file, you can able to see the get, and you can able to see the ls, you can see the mkdir. If you want to see the list of the commands in the HDFS, just give it as a HDFS space DFS. To see the list of the commands. Okay. Now my requirement is I want to see the list of the directories. What I can do here, simply I can give it as a HDFS space DFS space hyphen ls, and this is the command I'm giving. Now see, we are having the only 2 folders. This is the folder yesterday I created, and we are having the one more folder called as a Spark staging. These 2 are the folders we are having. Now, as per my requirement, I want to create a folder, for example, name as a Dataproc. In HDFS, I want to create one folder called as Dataproc 90. So this is my requirement, and now what is the command we need to give? HDFS space DFS space mkdir space, then give it as a Dataproc 90. So this is the way we can able to frame the command. By using this command, tell me where we are going to create the folder, in the LFS or in the HDFS. In the HDFS, we are creating the folder, and just I'm going to copy this one. I'm running here. Okay. Your folder has been created. Now what is the next step? Into this folder, I want to copy all the files. And from where you want to copy the files? From the local file system. I want to copy the files to my HDFS. In use case 3 folder, we are having all the files. Just I'm going there. See, in my virtual machine, in the use case 3 folder, I'm having all the JSON files, and all these files I want to move to my HDFS folder. So for that reason, what I'm doing here is I'm giving the command as HDFS space DFS space -put. We need to give the source path. What is the source path here? Just give the PWD. With the PWD, you can able to get the source path. Just I'm taking this. This is my source path. Now tell me, from this source path, you want to copy all the files or you want to copy only particular files? My requirement is I want to copy all the 5 files, and for that reason, I am giving it as a star.star. If you want, you can able to copy the 1 by 1 file also. But my requirement is I want to copy all the files, and for that reason, I am giving it as a star.star. Now where you want to copy? I want to copy into my HDFS folder. What is the HDFS folder here? This is the folder. So I'm giving this folder /. This is the way simply we can able to frame the command HDFS space DFS space -put. We are given the source path and we are given the target path only. So with this, we can able to copy all the files. Run this one once. Okay. Now my files are copied. I want to verify whether files are copied to this folder or not. How we can able to verify? Any guesses? I want to verify whether files are copied to the HDFS folder or not. What we can do? HDFS space DFS space LS space. You have to give the folder, because in this folder I want to verify. I'm given the folder path and just click on enter. Now see, this is my HDFS folder. In this folder, I copied all the 5 files and so please perform all the activities up to here. Just I given the comments also here. Sorry.
Change directory.
Where?
I want to go to this folder.
In which folder you want to go? HDFS folder.
Yes, Dataproc 90.
No, we cannot able to go to that folder because that is the HDFS folder. So directly we cannot able to go to that folder. But you can able to see the list of the contents by using this kind of command, HDFS space DFS space LS command. By using that, you can able to see the content. So please run these commands and make your data available in the HDFS. Any questions, please ask me. Star. So star.star is nothing but if you want to copy all the files, we have to give it as a star.star. For example, in my folder, I am having the .sql files. I am having .text file. I am having, for example, .json file. Like this, we are having the different types of the files. Now my requirement is I want to copy all the JSON files from this part to other part. Instead of giving the 1 by 1 file, what we can do here, simply we can give it as a star.json. If I'm given the star.json, what will happen? It will take all the JSON files. It will move all those JSON files to your other path. So to handle such kind of things, we are given the star.star. If I'm given the star.star, what it means? It will copy all text file, SQL file, JSON file. But if your requirement is you want to copy only JSON file, then we have to give it as a star.json. But in this folder, I am having only JSON file for our use case only. For that reason, I given it as a star.star. It's clear? Okay. Now in the HDFS, all the files are ready. Now what we can do here with the help of the PySpark. I want to complete my use case end to end. With the help of the PySpark, I want to complete my use case end to end. For that, first we are going to give the command called as a PySpark. With the help of the PySpark, I want to complete my use case end to end. If you want to do that, what we need to do here, we need to give the command called as a PySpark. Where we have to give this command? In the Unix shell, we have to give this command. Or you want me to wait for some time? Online people or offline people? Files copy completed. Files copy from LFS to HDFS. Okay. Now just give the PySpark here. PySpark. Once we give the PySpark, here you are going to get the Python prompt like this. Now in this Python prompt, we can able to run our Spark related code only. Now we'll try to understand one by one. So please focus here for a few minutes. Now what is the requirement? I want to read the data from the 5 different files only. What are the files we are having? We are having the customer underscore LO.json. We are having customer underscore NY.json, salesman underscore LO.json. Like this, we are having total 5 different JSON files. By using these 5 JSON files, I want to read the data and I want to create the table. On top of that, I want to write my SQL statements. Based on that, I want to achieve the requirement. Now, in PySpark, we are having concept called as data frames. So within the PySpark, we are having the concept called as nothing but data frames only. Here I can able to say data frames are nothing but it's a kind of tables. So what I'm telling here, data frames are nothing but it's a kind of a tables only. In the Spark, we are having the concept called as a data frame. And what is the meaning of data frame? Data frames are nothing but it's a kind of a table. What is a table? It's nothing but collection of rows and columns only. So in the tables, we are having the rows and columns. Indirectly, here in the PySpark, I want to create the data frame. In the data frame, we are going to maintain the rows and columns only. Now, whenever you want to create the data frame in the PySpark, what we can do here is, this is the command we are going to use. Just to try to understand one line. Just few minutes, please observe here only. We are going to use the command called as nothing but spark.read. What is the meaning of read? I want to read the data, and what format of data you want to read? I want to read the JSON file ID. So we are giving it as a spark.read.format of JSON. For example, you want to read the CSV file. What we can do? Just give it as a CSV. If you want to read the Parquet, we have to give it as a Parquet. So like that, you can able to read any kind of format of data and the spark.read.format of JSON. After reading, I want to load this data into the data frame. For that reason, we are giving the option called as a load only. With the help of the load, what will happen? Whatever the data we are loading, that data will be loading into your data frame. From where you want to read the data? From the HDFS path, I want to read the data. That is the path we are giving here. In whatever the path you copied the files only, that is the path we need to provide. In our example, I need to change it to Dataproc 19. Now, if you can able to understand for one file, for remaining files, what we are doing? For all the remaining files, we are going to perform the same activity only. First file, we are going to copy by using this command. Second file, other command, same command. Third file also given the same command. Fourth file also given the same command. Fifth file also we are given the same command. Try to understand one line command first. With that, you can able to perform the same activity for all the files only. Now, whenever you are going to create a data frame, we have to give the name for the data frame. Just for my understanding, for all the files, I'm giving it as a customer underscore LO underscore DF. For New York file, I'm giving customer underscore NY underscore DF. For salesman, I'm giving salesman underscore LO underscore DF. This is the way I given all the data frame names only. In this data frame, what I'm doing? I am reading the data from the HDFS file. On top of that, we are performing loading operation. With that, we are going to create the data frame. Now tell me, in this data frame, what data we are going to maintain? We are maintaining customer underscore LO data, which is nothing but in this data frame, we are going to see data in the CSV format or JSON format or tabular format. We are going to see the data in the tabular format because we are reading the data from the JSON. By using the JSON file, what I'm creating? I am creating a data frame. What is a data frame? Data frame is nothing but it's a kind of a table. For that reason, after creation of this data frame, in this data frame, what we can able to see? We can able to see the same JSON data, but that JSON data we can able to see in the tabular format, and all those operations we are going to perform with the help of the single line of the command. Okay. Any question on this line of the command, please ask me. Because we need to perform the same operation for all the files, and first to try to understand for one file. If you understood one file, same operation we can able to perform for remaining files also. Any question on top of this one, please ask me here.
Sir, in general, when we are reading a CSV file, for example, we normally say, no, sir, spark.read.csv, and within the open braces, close bracket, we give the file names, right, sir? Instead of that, we are using dot load, and we are giving the file path and file name here.
No, if you want, you can give the JSON dot your path also.
Okay.
That is the way also we can able to load the data.
Okay. Okay, sir, that's it.
Any other questions?
Yeah, sir.
No, one second. Offline, we are asking one question. Just one question. It's not taking the files. Okay, I will check and I will comment check. Directory. You need to create the directory, right? Have you created the directory? Okay. It's giving any error? Okay, I will comment check on it. Just 1 minute. We'll comment check. Any other questions up to here?
You will paste these comments, right, sir? After that, we can try, right, sir?
Yeah, I will paste the comment. Otherwise, if you want, you can type it. If you are going to type it, you can able to remember.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, some other persons try to ask the question. Please continue the question.
Sir, actually this one, all JSON files has a header, right? How it will be taking the header?
Yeah, it will take the header
except
automatically. So as part of reading the data from the JSON file, in the JSON, we are going to have the key value base. It is going to consider all the keys as a columns. It is going to consider all the values as a rows. Okay. Okay. Now, just I'm pinging all these 5 lines of code and but don't try to copy paste all the things as part of doing your practice. Try to understand just at the high level what activity we are doing, how we are doing this activity. So what we are doing here, we are reading the JSON file with the help of the spark.read command. By using this, try to read the data, try to create all the 5 data frames. Just I'm pinging that in the group chat. So please continue this activity, and offline people are having one question. I will check and come back.
You have to enter this after entering PySpark.
Yes, sir. In the PySpark, you have to do all these activities. If you are facing any issues, please let me know only. We'll check and then only we'll go to the next step.
Sir, one small doubt, sir. In the command that you have provided, load command /JSON I have removed, sir, because it says path does not exist.
Yeah, because this is
Because,
the no, this is the path in my system. In your system, might be you are having a different path. See, don't give the same path because this is the path which is present in my system. Okay, in your system might be you are having a different path, so please give that path. Just you have to give your HDFS folder / you have to give your JSON file name. If you don't have any other folders in between, please remove that. Here we need to provide the path of the file. Just to give your path, your folder name / within the folder. If you're having the file, give the file name. If you're having any subfolders, then you specify the subfolders. Online people, anyone facing the issue? Offline people working or anyone facing the issue? Error? Online people, is it working or anyone facing any issues?
Working, sir.
Okay. So please do the same activity for all the 5 files only because we need to use all the 5 files. So please do this activity for all the 5 files.
I'm getting a error, sir. Unexpected token JSON.
Okay, what's the command given? Can you please ping me in the Zoom chat? Only two. I will check it once.
Yeah.
So if you can able to perform the one file load, you can able to do the same activity for other loads only because for every file we are going to perform the same kind of activity, same command, only path is going to change, except that nothing is going to change. You want to remove that? Now you can create one more data frame, or you can able to override. So for example, if you want to do the separate activity on top of the data frame, so run the same command one more time, it will override automatically. It's okay, and you can ignore them, no issues. Okay, just observe here for a few minutes only. If you created the one data frame at least, if you want to see the data in the data frame, we can able to give like this only. Data frame name dot show. This is the command we can able to give. If you are able to create at least one data frame, give it as a data frame name dot show. With that, we can able to see the data like this. So what's happening? Whatever the data we are having in the JSON file, same data we can able to see. How we are getting the data here? You can able to see the data in the tabular format, and indirectly we are converting JSON file data into the tabular format in the PySpark. But in the PySpark, instead of calling it as a table directly, what we are calling here, we are calling it as a data frame. Data frame is nothing but it's a kind of a table which is going to contain all the rows and all the columns. Now in the data frame, if you want to load the data, we are going to give the command called as a spark.read.format .load. With that, we can able to load the data. After loading, if you want to see the data, give it as a data frame .show. With that, you can able to see the data like this. Lakshmi, can you please ping the error? What is the error you are getting?
Yeah. Syntax near unexpected token in JSON. I'm getting this error, sir.
You perform any changes in the JSON? For which file you are getting that error?
Customer.lo.json.
For everyone is working.
London.
You done any changes in that file?
No, sir.
But for everyone is working. Can you do one thing? Whatever the files are sent to you, can you please recopy, re-download and copy paste again one more time, and with that try to continue this activity.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Sir, I observed that thing that header is in ascending order. I think so.
That's okay. So just if you are going to get the data, anyhow, when you are going to write the queries, we are going to apply the column names.
Okay.
Okay, just observe here already for a few minutes again. See, so far what we have done, we created the data frames. Now my requirement is on top of these data frames, I want to frame the query to achieve our requirement. So what is the requirement here? On top of these data frames, I want to write the query for the purpose of achieving my requirement. Now to do this activity, what we can do here is, in the Spark, we are having the concept called as a spark.sql. So here what we did, we read the data from the file. So we are giving it as a spark.read only. In the same way, if you want to run queries on top of your data frame, here we are going to use the option called as a spark.sql. But if you want to write queries by using spark.sql, we need to change we need to convert our data frames as views. So I can able to say in the PySpark, if you want to write the queries on top of these data frames only, directly we cannot able to frame the query. For that reason, what we need to do here, we need to convert these data frames as views only. To perform that activity, here we are going to use the command called as a create or replace temp view only. With the help of this, if you observe, what we are doing is, what is the data frame name? If you take the first one, what is the data frame name? customer underscore LO underscore DF, that is the data frame name. Now this data frame, we are converting it as a view by using which one? By using the command called as a create or replace temp view only. Now whenever we are going to create the view, what we need to do? We need to provide the name. That name we are giving within the brackets in the double quotes only. Now indirectly we are converting this data frame as a view. On top of the views we can able to write the query. Immediately might be you can able to get the question, sir, why we cannot able to write the queries on top of data frames? On data frames we cannot able to write direct SQL statements. We can able to write only transformations. In the Spark, we are having the concept called as a transformation study that we'll discuss separately. But on top of data frames, directly we cannot able to frame the SQL statement. That's the reason what we are doing here. For the purpose of writing the query to achieve my requirement, I am converting my data frame as a view. For the purpose of doing this operation, here what I'm using, I am using the method called as a create or replace temp view only. With this, what will happen? Automatically, we can able to create the view. Now you tell me, what is the view name? This one or this one? Within the brackets, in the double quotes, whatever the name we are giving, that is nothing but your view name only. Just for removing the confusion here, I will give it as a underscore view like this. This is the view name I'm giving. If I'm giving the same name both the places, you will get the confusion. So what I'm doing here is I'm giving the view name as underscore v. Now see here, this data frame, we are converting it as a view. This data frame, we are converting it as a view. Indirectly, whatever the 5 data frames we created, we are converting all these 5 data frames as a views only. On top of the views, what we can do here, you can able to frame your SQL query. With that, we can able to achieve our requirement. Now, just I'm pinging these also to your Telegram group. So please try to run all these 5 only. At least 1 or 2, please type it manually. After that, if you want for remaining things, you can able to perform the copy paste only. At least 1 or 2, please type it. With that, you can able to understand what we are doing as part of these steps. Now tell me where we are doing all these activities. In the Dataproc or in the BigQuery or in the Google Cloud Storage. That's the main topic, right? We are doing in the Dataproc or Dataproc cluster. We are doing all these activities on the Dataproc cluster only. See, creating the Dataproc cluster is not a big activity. We can able to create it very fastly, but we need to understand under the Dataproc cluster what activities we are going to perform. That we need to understand. In the Dataproc cluster, we are having the HDFS. That's the reason we use some HDFS commands. In the Dataproc, we are having the Spark. That's the reason we are using the Spark commands. And in the Dataproc, we are having the SparkSQL that we are going to discuss later. So we need to understand within the Dataproc what activities we can able to perform. For that reason, we are discussing all those activities in practical.
To show the data frames, what command we need to run, sir?
To show data frames, you have to give the command like this, and you have to give the data frame name dot show.
Okay, thank you.
Data frame dot name dot show, open bracket and close the bracket. With that, you can able to see the data in the data frame.
Okay.
Any issue?
It's showing as it's feeling like unexpected.
Online people just 1 minute. Some people are facing the issue offline.
It's a scripts run on PySpark. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, I think most of the people are doing this mistake only. So they are given the same path, whatever I given the JSON here, and they are also given the same JSON. See here, actually in your system, whatever the path you are having, you have to give that path only. If you created the only Dataproc 19, in that path, if you copied the files, you have to give the only that path. Don't give the JSON. Okay. That's why I'm saying that. Please go through the command once and try to understand what is your path you have to use, and accordingly you need to perform the modification. That is first mistake. And other people are running all these commands directly in the Unix prompt. Tell me here, all these commands where we need to run? We need to run in the PySpark prompt, or we need to run it in the Unix prompt? We need to run all these commands in the PySpark prompt only. Once you give in the PySpark, then you are going to get the prompt like this, 3 greater than symbols. Here we need to run all these kind of commands, but instead of that, if you are going to run it in the Unix prompt, what will happen? You can able to get the errors. Okay. Now see here, I hope all the people have created these views also. Now indirectly, we are having the data frames and also we are having the views only. Now just assume that for a few minutes, this is one, and this is second one, third one, and fourth one, and fifth one. Okay. Now, for example, these are the 5 views you created. For a few minutes, just assume that all these are the tables only. Now, by considering it as a normal table, you try to give the answer. How we can able to frame the query here as per the requirement? What is the requirement? In between these 2 tables, I want to apply the union. In between these 2, I want to apply the union. Then on top of those results, I want to apply the join. All these are the activities we need to perform. Now to perform this activity, from this JSON file, we loaded the data into data frame. On top of the data frame, we created the views only. Now on top of the views, we need to perform all these operations. Now you try to give the answer. How we can able to frame the query? By considering all these are the tables. What we need? How to apply the union? Select star from this view.
Table name.
Union. Next, select star from. This is the second view. So with this, we are applying the union between these 2 things only. In the same way, what next? In between these 2 also, we need to perform the union. Select star from salesman underscore LO underscore V union. After that, select star from This one. Now, what is our third one? So this is our third one.
Join.
Now, in between all these three operations, we need to apply the join. So this is the first requirement. In between these two, we need to apply the union. This is the second requirement. In between these two, we need to apply the union. And on top of these two results, we need to perform the join with the third one. Now, how we can able to combine all these three queries?
The SQL can do that.
Indirectly, I want to send output of one query as input to the other query. So what is the concept we need to apply? We need to apply subquery Sunday. So simply with the help of the subquery, we can able to perform this operation. Here, I am given the subquery like this. This entire query, I am giving it as a subquery. Sir, why we are giving the subquery immediately? Because I want to send output of this query as input to the one more query to perform the join operation. That's the reason here we are applying the concept called as a subquery. And now you tell me what type of subquery it is?
Inline.
It's a inline subquery because whenever we are writing a subquery by using the from statement, such kind of subquery we can able to call it as a inline subquery. So here we are applying the inline subquery. Now I am giving, for example, left outer join, and I'm giving orders underscore v. I'm giving alias name is order. So whenever we are given the join, what we have to do? We need to apply the on condition. We need to give cust dot is equal to order dot. So I think here column names are cust underscore id and cust underscore id, and here also we have to give it as a cust underscore id. With that, what we are doing? We are applying the join between order table and with this union result. In the same way, what we need to do? We need to apply the join with this query also. Again, what we can do? Let's give it as left outer join. After that, for this entire query, I'm giving alias name is, for example, salesman. I'm giving join condition like this. Order table dot cust id is equal to, this is my mistake, it's a salesman id and so this is the way we can able to frame the query. If you observe, we are not doing any new activity and we are applying the union between two tables. Again, we are applying the union between two more tables, and in between all these three results, we are going to apply the join. For the purpose of doing that activity, what I'm doing here, I'm applying the concept called as a subquery. What type of subquery we are writing here? We are writing the type of the subquery called as a inline subquery. With the help of the inline subquery, we can able to frame the query like this: union join with order. Again, we are joining with the salesman. Here also what I'm doing here, we are applying the union like that. As per the requirement, we are doing all these operations by using our union, by using the join, by using our subquery Sunday. Now tell me, that's it, or do we need to perform any other activities? You want to get the join output or you want to get the summary output? I want to get salesman, city, and total amount. This is the way I want to get the data. Now indirectly in the target table, I want to get data for only 3 columns. And how to get data for only 3 columns in this query? We need to give the star or we need to give the columns manually? We need to give the columns manually. So I'm giving it as a salesman dot name, comma, salesman dot city, comma. We need to apply sum of purchase amount. And here I'm giving alias name is, for example, total purchase amount. Now you tell me, are we discussing any new thing here? Already we discussed about all these concepts as part of our database study. Just we are plugging all these things as part of our today's session. You know union, you know left outer, you know subquery, you know sum function. And tell me, is the complete query? Still we need to do any modifications? We need to add group by 1, 2, or we can give it as a group by sales name, comma, sales.city. Because whenever we are applying the aggregate functions, if we are having any extra columns handy, we need to pass all those columns into the group by class. This is the way we need to frame our SQL query as per our requirement. Now, I want to run this query by using what? I want to run this query with the help of the spark.sql, because I want to run this query in the PySpark. And for that reason, what we are going to do here is, just we are giving it as a spark.sql. In the bracket, we need to pass this whole query. And we need to pass the whole query within the double quotes. That's it. First, try to understand what is the query we are building, and once you understand what is the query we are building, on top of that, just what I'm doing here, I'm giving it as a spark.sql, open bracket, close bracket. Within the bracket, we can able to pass the whole query in the double quotes, and with that, you can able to run the queries also on top of your PySpark. So with this, we can able to get the required result. Okay. Now, if I'm going to run this query, what will happen? It will execute, but if you want to see the result, and what we can do here is just give it as a dot show. In the PySpark, whenever you want to see any kind of result, what we can do here, just we need to give it as a dot show. Otherwise, what we can do here is, I want to store this entire result. Any cases where we have to store the results? I want to store this entire query output. What we can do? Again, here I will create the one more data frame, and I'm giving, for example, data frame 1 in the Spark or in the PySpark. Whenever you want to store any kind of results, and what we can do here, we need to maintain the data frame. Here I'm giving the one more data frame called as a, for example, df1. Now what I will do here is, if you want to see the data, give it as df1.show. By giving the df1.show, what will happen? It will execute entirely. That entire output we can able to see by using our df1.show only. This is the way we need to understand how we can able to frame the complete query for the purpose of achieving our requirement. Now this is the query we are writing as per the requirement. This query we are running by using our spark.sql. This entire result we are storing in the data frame. To display that result, we are giving it as a df1.show. With that, we can able to display the results. Okay. Now, just to overcome the syntax errors, I am taking this query here. Don't think we are taking some new query. We are not taking any new query. At the same query, if you observe, we are applying the union between customer underscore. Sorry, I think it's a view only. If you observe here, what is the first query? Union between two customer tables. What is the third query? Again, union between salesman's table. In between, we are applying the order table, and we are applying the join for all the things. And just for your understanding, I am putting all the queries in the individual lines. And in the PySpark, whenever you want to trigger the multiple lines of the query, and we need to end the query with the slash symbol. If you are given the slash symbol, what it means? That is a separate line. Then we are given the second line. We are given the third line. We are given the fourth line. Just for understanding to the PySpark, this is the separate line. We are given the slash symbol at the end. But this is the whole as a single query or different queries. This whole thing as a single query. Now what I'm doing here is, just I will run this in the PySpark. And tell me again, where we need to run this? In the PySpark prompt, or we need to run it in the Unix prompt?
PySpark.
Everything we have to run it in the PySpark prompt only. Just run this. Click on enter. Now, its execution is completed, but if you want to see the result, we have to give it as a df.show. So once we are given the df.show only, for every name at the city level, it is going to give the total purchase amount. Now might be you can able to get the question, sir, why we are given the coalesce function here? Try to give the answer. What is the purpose of coalesce? To convert null values to not null values, we are given the coalesce function. Actually, when I ran this use case, and here in the total purchase amount, because of the unmatched records, we are getting all these values as a null values. But in the amount column, I don't want to get any null value. For that reason, what I'm doing here, just I'm applying the coalesce function. Because I've given the coalesce function, what's happening here? In the output, we can able to get the value as a 0.0 only. I will share this one, but my sincere suggestion, don't try to run this query as is, and try to understand what we are doing in this query. Just I will repeat one more time. What we are doing, are you trying to give the answer? As per the use case, what we have to do? In between these two, we need to apply the union. I did that activity here. This is the first union. After that, in between these two, we need to perform the one more union. That is the activity I'm doing here. And after that, in between these three results, we need to apply the union. Indirectly, this union output, I want to use the input for the one more query. That's the reason here we are applying the concept called as a subquery. What type of subquery we are using here? We are using the inline subquery. And now, whenever we are given the inline subquery, we need to give the alias name. Here also we are applying the inline subquery. Here also we given the alias name. In between all these three results, we are applying the join. At the same time, as per the requirement, I want to perform the sum operation at the city level and name level. For that reason, we are giving the sum function and we are giving those columns in the select statement. At the same time, we are applying the group by clause just for displaying the data properly. We are giving the order by clause only. And why we are applying the collapse function? In the result, to convert null values to not null values, we are applying the collapse function. This is the complete query we need to prepare. Once you prepare the query, how to run the query? By using the spark.sql, we can able to run the query. Just observe. First one, spark.read. What is the purpose of spark.read? To read the data from the file. Now, what is the purpose of the spark.sql?
To write the
To
query.
run the queries, okay? To run the query, you prepare the normal query. After preparation of the query, just pass the whole query in the double quotes into the bracket by using our spark.sql. This entire output I want to store, where we can able to store in one more data frame, we can able to store the content. This is the way you have to frame the complete code and just run this code here. After that, if you want to see the result, give it as a data frame.show only. With that, what will happen? You can able to see the data. This is the way we need to understand how we can able to run the queries also on top of using our PySpark. Okay, just I will share this one. Please try to run this one only.
Let us know little more about here.
Just I pinged here. So if you observe here, there is a small correction. What is the correction here? For the orders underscore v, I given it as a orders underscore df underscore v and d. If you created this view already, what you can do here in this query, instead of given the orders underscore v, please give it as a this one. This one, please give it as a orders underscore df underscore v and d. If you created this view already, then what you can do here? Please give it as a orders underscore df underscore v here. With that, you can able to run this whole query. With that, you can able to get the required output. Any questions? Please ask me. And just a small correction again here and it's a df1.show or df.show. So df.show. Okay. So you take care of all these small mistakes and please take care of that and please do the execution. We are creating the data frame as a df, but by mistake I given the command as a here df1.show. Instead of df1, you have to give it as a df.show. Any questions, online people? Please ask me.
Sir, could you please let us little bit more about DF? What is DF? But how to store that?
What is df? You are asking? Now, can you please repeat the question? You are asking about the data frame.
Data frame, sir. What is data frame? How to store that?
Yeah, data frame, as I told you earlier, data frame is nothing but it's a kind of a table. It's a kind of a table in PySpark. Okay, and this data will store in cache memory. Internally, nowhere this data is going to store. And where this data is going to store, that data is going to store in your cache memory. What the meaning of cache memory is nothing but in your RAM that data is going to store. Okay, so once we are going to run the query, what will happen? It will take all the data from the cache memory. With that, it will execute all our operations or it will execute all our queries. And that's the reason morning I told you, just at the high level, try to understand data frame is nothing but it's a kind of a table. What is a data frame and what is Spark? All these topics we are going to cover in detail as part of our coming classes. Just for use case, we are creating the data frame. For now, just to think that data frame is nothing but it's a kind of a table. With that knowledge, please proceed for all the activities and in detail about data frame, in detail about the Spark, we are going to discuss in the coming classes. Is it fine? Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Offline people, any issues, any concerns?
Working, sir.
Yes, and so if it is working, don't leave it and try to understand how we framed the query here, because in the single query we are applying the multiple concepts and we are going to apply the union, we are applying left outer join, and we are applying inline subquery, and we are applying sum function, and we are applying collapse function, and we are applying group by, and we are applying order by. These many number of topics we clubbed into the single SQL query, and in the real time also what will happen, you are going to write the similar kind of SQL queries by depending on the requirements. Okay, so most of the people are saying it's working, and anyone facing any issues, please let me know. Again, one second. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. You need to run all this from where? Don't from the Unix from Kandi. Please run all this from the PySpark pram. Yeah, please continue. Someone is asking the question.
Yeah, why we using a left outer join?
Now, because as part of, if you remember the use case 2 and D, so actually if you observe here, this is indirectly equivalent to our use case 2 and D. In the use case 2 for the customer, how many files we are having? Single file. For salesman also we are having the single file, but here instead of having the single file, we are having the multiple files and that is the difference between the use case 2 and use case 3. If you understood in the use case 2 why we are applying the left outer join, same answer we can able to apply on top of this use case 3 also.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, if you're not facing any issues, Andy, so please focus here for 2 minutes. So what we did so far, first step, we created Dataproc cluster. After that, we connected to Dataproc cluster by using keys or Putty gen, or by using Putty. We perform all these activities to connect to our Dataproc, and after that, we given PySpark command. With the help of the PySpark command, what we have done? We perform the read operation. With the help of the read operation, we created the data frames. On top of data frames, we created the temp views, or we created the views. On top of the views, just we written the SQL query as per the requirement, and we ran this query with the help of the spark.sql. This is the summary, and indirectly I'm trying to say only these operations we performed as part of our whole session: reading the data and storing that into data frame. On top of that, we created the views, and as per the requirement, we written the SQL query. And how we ran the SQL query? With the help of the spark.sql, we ran the SQL query. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to utilize the Dataproc to run our PySpark related code. This is the way we can able to understand how we can able to run PySpark related code on top of your Dataproc. And now actually, if you remember, morning we discussed about one statement. How many ways we can able to connect to Spark in the Dataproc? How many ways we can connect to Spark in Dataproc?
Local file system.
First option we discussed about by using PySpark. Any other options? By using Spark-shell. What's the other option? Spark-SQL. And when we are going for PySpark, if you want to deal with the Python, then you need to go for PySpark. If you want to deal with the Scala, then we can go for SparkShell. In the same way, you want to deal everything with the SQL queries, everything. Reading the data, writing the data, everything you want to deal with the SQL queries. And then what we can do here, we can able to use the option called as a Spark-SQL. But as part of our classes, we are not going to discuss about the Scala. I'm removing this. Today, we discuss about all the activities by using the PySpark. And in the next session, we'll try to understand how we can able to perform all these activities with the help of the Spark-SQL. With that, you can able to get the clear picture how we can able to use the Dataproc to run our code by using PySpark and Spark-SQL. Okay, this is the one topic. And other than this, Andy, whatever the activities we worked here, we can able to orchestrate all these scripts in Dataproc. What is the meaning of orchestration?
Scheduling and
We
monitoring.
need to perform scheduling. You try to give the answer here. In this whole process, Andy, in which order you want to run this whole process? This one. First one, what we need to do? I want to create the data frames. On top of that, I want to create the views. On top of that, I want to run the query. With that, I want to get the final data, which is nothing but we are going to perform the multiple activities, Andy. So what we can do here is we can create the job 1, we can create the job 2, we can create the job 3, and in between all these jobs, what we can do here, we can able to define the dependency also, and all these activities only we can able to call it as nothing but orchestration activity, Andy. Now with the help of the Dataproc also, we can able to perform this kind of orchestration. In the Dataproc, we are having the concept called as a jobs, and we are having the concept called as a workflows. And by using the jobs and workflows, what we can do here, you can able to perform the orchestration activity. That also we are going to cover as part of our next session. With that, you can able to get the clear picture how we can able to use the Dataproc for a use case, and how we can able to orchestrate the jobs also with the help of the Dataproc. Okay. Now, old batch people, don't ask the question immediately how to do this airflow. That we'll discuss in the coming classes. But in the Dataproc also we can able to perform the orchestration. First, we'll try to understand by using Dataproc how we can able to perform the orchestration. In the coming classes, we'll discuss about the airflow. Okay. Just I will take 2 more minutes, Sandy. Just observe here. Okay, if you observe here, so this is the Dataproc console. Earlier we worked on the clusters, Sandy. So we created the clusters and everything. Other than clusters, what else options we are having? Jobs and workflows. What is the purpose of jobs and workflows? For orchestration. But how we are going to perform that activity, that we'll discuss in the next session, Andy. How to create the jobs, how to create the workflows. In between the jobs, how we can able to define the dependency. All these are the things, again, important topics we need to understand. These topics also we are going to cover in the next section. Okay. But a simple statement. To understand next class, what's the dependency? You need to complete practice for today's session. Okay, so please do the end-to-end practice by listening my videos slowly, or you can able to put the pause or anything, Andy. Please do the end-to-end practice for the today's session. My sincere request, to practice 3 to 4 times if time permits. I know you people are busy, Andy, but if time permits, please do the practice at least 3 to 4 times, Andy, because you will get so many confusions. Because sometimes we are using the PySpark prompt. Sometimes I'm using the Unix prompt. So like this, we need to perform one activity in the Unix prompt and one activity in the PySpark prompt. You will get lot of confusions, Andy. To overcome all those kind of confusions, obviously what you have to do here, you need to perform the practice multiple times on this end-to-end use case. Once you are going to perform this practice end-to-end, Andy, with that you will get a clear picture, and you can able to give the same explanation as part of your interviews on Dataproc. If you want, please go and check with your old people, and old batch people. They are not they don't know about the Dataproc, and I am assuming that they don't know about all this process in the Dataproc, because as I told you earlier, no one will cover all these concepts. And what's the reason? For understanding, it will take the time. For explanation, it will take the time. If you are getting any kind of errors, to solve the errors also, it will take good amount of time. But I am trying to cover all these kind of advanced topics, and try to utilize. Okay, I given the same statement in the previous class also, which I remember, but I'm repeating the same thing, and try to understand the advanced concepts, because you are not going to work as a fresher. You are going to work as a experienced person. If you are going to work as an experienced person, you need to have knowledge about all these kind of topics, and now, for example, in the interview, they are asking, can you please explain about the Dataproc flow? If you can able to explain all these things, what will happen? With the single question, he can understand you are really working in the real time, and with that easily you can able to get the jobs. Forget about the job, and to survive in the real time, you need to have knowledge about all these kind of topics. For that reason, we are spending this much of time. Okay. And one more thing, by seeing all these things, don't think that everything is complex, and I given the summary here. What is the summary? Today, whole process, what we did? We read the data from the file. We created the data frame. On top of that, we created the views. On top of that, we written a BigQuery. With that, we populated the data. Only that's the activity we have completed. But to perform that activity, we prepared all the prerequisites. That's the reason it taken 3 to 4 hours of time. Once everything is ready to complete this end-to-end process, trust me, it won't take more than 20 to 30 minutes. That too, first time. Coming to second time, what will happen? You can able to complete same activity in 10 to 50 minutes. What about third time? You can able to complete same activity in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. I'm not giving any general statements on it. Trust me here. Do the practice at least 3 to 4 times. Fifth time, you will feel very, very comfortable. If you are getting any kind of error also, easily you can able to recollect where you did the mistake. But all those things are going to happen if you are going to perform the practice multiple times. And with that, you can able to get the clear picture on top of our whole session. Okay. Just one question to you, not only for new people, all the people. And you want me to cover similar kind of advanced concepts in next sessions, or we'll go with normal topics? Normal topics, sir. Okay. So even if you're going to say normal topics, I will go with the advanced concepts only, and that's a different story. But see here, but if you want to understand advanced concepts, what need to happen? Please do the practice. My sincere suggestion, multiple times I'm telling this statement because I know how much pain you are feeling, because all these are new to you. I can understand, and you are getting so many errors. I can understand. You will feel some kind demotivate yourself also because of all the errors and all these things, Andy. But don't demotivate yourself, Andy. Why we are discussing advanced concepts? For your benefit only. Okay, don't think that it's for my benefit only. For example, if I'm not going to discuss about all these topics, can you able to find out which topics I'm not discussing? No, right? You cannot able to predict which topics I'm skipping or which topics I'm not discussing. And simply I can able to skip all these topics. I can go for the next topic, but that's not my intention. I want to cover each and every topic in the very detailed way. With that, you can able to get the perfect understanding. With that, you are going to become the kind of skill resource. With that, easily we can able to get the job. Okay, so please do the practice, and we'll meet in the next session. When is the next session? Tomorrow?
No.
Okay. So we'll have class tomorrow only. And just I want to add one thing. Might be from tomorrow onwards or day after tomorrow onwards, only. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow onwards, we'll start Python. Okay, so earlier I think in the 11:30 and 2:30 we discussed about database concept. Right? In the same way, in the 11:30 and 2:30 we'll start discussing about the Python, and I think max it will take 4 to 5 days of time to complete the Python. After that, we'll start discussing about the other topics, and one session for the GCP service, other sessions for the Python. With that, we can able to cover multiple topics in parallel. Okay. Obviously, from your side, you need to perform the practice on the GCP services, and you need to perform the practice on Python, and you need to perform the practice for the old topics also. Like that, day by day, what's happening? Burden is going to increase, so you have to do all those activities, and with that, easily you can able to understand everything. Okay. Okay, then we'll meet you in the tomorrow session. Online people, any questions?
Sir, my question is, should I use mandatory to use Putty? I don't have to use Putty. Is that possible?
No, can you repeat it once? You don't want to use what?
Putty.
No, we have to use the Putty, and you don't have other option. You are going to do all the things in the Putty. Otherwise, what we can do here is we are going to perform these activities in the IDE tools, which is nothing but by using PyCharm. If you want to use the Python, you are going to use the PyCharm. And in the PyCharm also, we can able to perform this activity. Otherwise, we can able to perform all these activities in the notebooks. We are going to perform these activities in the Jupyter notebook also. But if you are going to perform these activities in the PyCharm or in the Jupyter notebook, or if you are going to perform all these activities in the Putty, everywhere we are going to perform the same kind of activities. And if time permits, I will show you how we can able to perform all these activities in the Jupyter notebook and PyCharm also in the coming classes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah, please.
so in real time, Putty will be installed in the client machine, right?
Yeah, correct. The Putty will be installed in your personal local system, in your laptop. Whatever the laptop or desktop you are going to use, in that laptop or desktop, you are going to have the Putty. Now, by using the Putty, you are going to connect to the client machine.
I mean, I'm talking about Linux machine, sir. We are using Linux machine. We are connecting Linux machine from the Putty right from here.
Yeah,
So in the real time also, client is allowing to install Putty in our company machine.
Yeah, obviously. So because without having Putty, how we can able to connect to the virtual machines? We cannot able to connect, right? That's the reason definitely they will allow you to connect to the by using Putty.
Sir, is that there is other options also through HTTP we can use that connect the VM?
No, your voice is breaking. Can you please repeat the question?
Through SDK also you can join the VM, right?
Yeah, we can able to perform it. Through SDK you can do, through Putty we can do. So as I told you earlier, we can able to perform the same activities with the help of the Putty, and with the help of the Cloud SDK also we can able to perform those activities. But with the help of the Cloud SDK, if you want to connect, we need to follow the different steps.
So could you discuss once?
No, first do the practice for all these things, and then we'll discuss about all those things definitely.
Okay, sure.
Any other questions, online people? Okay.